Dan Ige versus Edson Barboza takes place on the main card of UFC Fight Night Jacksonville Overeem versus Harris this weekend. Actually, tomorrow now. It's getting closer and closer every single day. I love how many fights there are recently. I was going to make this prediction video yesterday, but then I realised, hang on a second, they're making weight in a few hours. I'd rather make this one tomorrow once I see Edson Barboza on the scale. I saw Edson Barboza on the scale. First, let me talk about that before I get into the nitty-gritty of this fight. Edson Barboza looked reasonably good on the scale, and actually in his interview before his weigh-in and before his weight cut had really started, he said that he's just going to do exactly what he did at lightweight, but just start off 10 pounds lighter. Those are the golden words I want to hear from anyone who's making a bad weight cut, because Jose Aldo said the same thing. If you're going to drain yourself down to another weight class, don't just add on extra weight cutting to do. Edson Barboza said he started this weight cut 10 pounds lighter than he would normally do for the lightweight weight cut, and said it's exactly the same experience. It feels exactly the same to him. And on the scales, although he looks quite skinny, he didn't look too drawn out. He looked okay. I was expecting we were going to see some kind of skeleton on the scales of Edson Barboza, but he looks reasonably good, and that is just going to make me double down on my prediction of Edson Barboza getting this job done by TKO over Dan Ige. I know Dan Ige's got a great chin, however, there's a size reality here. I saw the pair of them face off. Edson Barboza is a much, much larger man. He's a huge guy for the division of featherweight. He's not even a small lightweight, to be honest with you. So when he first said he was going to make the cut down, I was a little bit confused. But then I understood. The reason that Edson Barboza is making this weight cut down is not because, you know, he thinks he's too small for lightweight. I just feel like he's lost to enough guys at lightweight that are now above him in the rankings, where it's going to be very, very difficult for him to work his way back up without having to go through guys that have already beaten him. If you think about, just off the top of my head right now, Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Paul Felder, I know it was a close fight that could go to Edson Barboza, but either way, he's lost to a lot of guys up there in the rankings right now. I just feel as though this move down to featherweight is going to be a great one for him, and I don't think that Dan Ige is the guy to get it done. When this fight was first announced, I didn't mind Dan Ige's chances. Now that I've seen the weigh-ins, I really don't like Dan Ige's chances. Dan Ige is a phenomenal fighter and one of the hot prospects at featherweight right now, and even if he loses to Edson Barboza, I still think he's going to beat the majority of the division and probably end up in the top 10. However, Dan Ige is not the guy I would pick right now to beat Edson Barboza. He really isn't. I've just noticed a little stain on my shirt, and that's really embarrassing. Now everyone's going to be looking at that for the rest of the video. Either way, Dan Ige, in my opinion, is not the guy to beat Edson Barboza. Okay? You need to have a little bit of KO power, which Dan Ige has shown. Now, he's got a KO in his career. I think he's got 4 KOs in his career out of all of his wins. But either way, I just feel like you need to be a guy like Sadiq Yusuff with a little bit of crack behind your punches that's really going to make Edson Barboza suffer for making the weight cut. I'm not willing to pick a guy in Dan Ige who has shown... I mean, Mirsad Bektic, when he fought Dan Ige, was a guy who was coming off a KO loss from a jab from Josh Emmett. If Josh Emmett was fighting Edson Barboza, which was the original fight that was signed, by the way, I would actually really like Josh Emmett's chances. I just don't think that Dan Ige is the guy that's going to get it done. He's going to be going out there and trying to attempt a striking match against a guy who's just way bigger than him, has the reach advantage, is going to be a monster at featherweight, is probably going to be supremely confident on his first trip down to the division because he knows if he wins this one, he's got a clear road to the title. I mean, as much as you can shit on Edson Barboza for making the weight cut down, once he joins this new division, if he is successful tomorrow night, which I believe that he will be, he's got a clear run towards the title. He's got no history with anyone above him in the division. He can just cleanly go through with no asterisks next to his name about getting this fight or that fight because these guys have beaten him before. He's got no relation to the division. He can make a clean run, and it actually might pay off for him in the long run. I thought he looked great on the scales. I thought he just looked like a smaller Edson Barboza. If he looked like the same size Edson Barboza, but just way more drawn out, I would really worry. But he just looks a bit skinnier. His head looked very small, which was weird. His head has shrunk massively. I guess that's where he puts all of his weight when he goes up to lightweight for some bizarre reason. But either way, I think he's going to go out there and get the job done against Dan Ige. I like Dan Ige, however, there's just some realities that Edson Barboza is a huge guy going in there with a lot of power that's been taken out lightweights in his career. You know, no one eats body kicks at lightweight from Edson Barboza. Guys don't like it. Dan Hooker at lightweight could not take the punishment from Edson Barboza. I don't think these smaller featherweights, especially a guy in Dan Ige who isn't the biggest featherweight himself, are going to be able to earn the respect of Edson Barboza and take the punishment that he's going to be dealing out, I think Edson Barboza is going to get the finish on Dan Ige, maybe in the first round. I think he's going to come out there lightning fast, crack him with a kick, and probably finish him spectacularly in the first round. I just don't like Dan Ige's chances. However, if Dan Ige can make this a scrap, which I know he can get on the inside and throw some mean hooks, and they can catch Edson Barboza on the chin and KO him. Even though Dan Ige is not known for his KO power, there is still a very good chance that he could go out there and get it done, because if anyone lands on your chin, regardless of the division, if they land a perfect punch and you've had a bad weight cut, you might go down and you might go out cold. And that's a worry. I just feel like there's other guys that I would pick to beat Edson Barboza, and I'm just not sure that Dan Ige is on their level yet, because although the fight between him and Mirsad Bektic was clearly his win, it was a close fight. I thought it was clearly 2-1 on rounds for Dan Ige, but he ended up giving it a split decision, which was pretty retarded. There were 2 close rounds, but I thought it was very obvious who won the fight in Dan Ige. I just feel as though he's not the guy to get it done. If he had gone out there, and, you know, this was a Mirsad Bektic, again, as I'll say, coming off a KO loss to a jab from Josh Emmett. He suffered KO losses in his career before from Darren Elkins in the 3rd round. Joe Rogan won't stop talking about that moment, if you remember, when Darren Elkins is roaring around the octagon. Either way, I just don't think that Dan Ige's got the power to earn the respect of Edson Barboza after the weight cut. If Edson Barboza was coming in there against a Josh Emmett, against a Sadiq Youssef, you know, maybe even against a Cub Swanson, maybe a Shane Burgos, a Calvin Kattar especially, which we'll talk about later on in this video, because he's going to need an opponent to face next if he does get past Dan Ige. I just don't think Ige's going to get it done. I don't see him out grappling Edson. Regardless of his grappling game, Edson's going to be a huge man come fight night. He's got all of the experience. I don't see Edson gassing out either, because although he does slow down in the 3rd round, I mean, he's got way more experience going 3 rounds than Dan Ige ever did, and I know the weight cut could play some factors there. I just don't believe that Dan Ige's going to get it done. There ain't too much of a technical breakdown here, to be honest with you guys. But what do we want to see from these guys next? If Dan Ige wins, spectacular performance. Dan Ige upsets Edson Barboza. I know it's not really seen as that, as this huge upset. But I feel like if Dan Ige actually does go out there and beat Edson Barboza here, you have to give him the credit that he deserves. Like, that's a really big upset in my opinion. I don't think that he should be anywhere close in terms of odds, because I don't think he possesses that kind of threat level. But if he does go out there and win, give him the fight with Calvin Kattar next, or give him a fight with Shane Burgos next. Give him what he wants. Up the rankings is what everyone wants at featherweight right now. But if Edson Barboza wins, the fight between him and Calvin Kattar genuinely makes me orgasm. Like, ridiculously much. Like, I'm thinking about it every night before I go to bed. If Edson Barboza can get past Dan Ige, him versus Calvin Kattar really gets my gears going. Okay, it really does, because Calvin Kattar, one big problem he's faced in his entire career are the leg kicks. Edson Barboza, you know, I think he could pose a lot of problems in that division, but then on the other side of things, you've got the power of Calvin Kattar with that one-shot knockout power that Dan Ige I just don't feel like has. If Dan Ige was a bigger featherweight with a little bit more of an intimidation factor and a bit more power behind his shots, I would 100% pick him to beat Edson Barboza. I just don't think he has got it. I think Edson Barboza knows why he's accepted this fight. I don't think Edson Barboza would have accepted a fight against Josh Emmett. Well, he did, but I don't think he would have chosen to accept it in a time like this. I think the only reason he's still going on with the fight right now is because he knows he kind of has a great shot here against Dan Ige to insert himself into those featherweight rankings. I just think he's going to get it done. The leg kicks are there. Dan Ige sits very heavy on his lead leg sometimes when he unloads combinations. Dan Ige's got to get on the inside, which is going to be very difficult because you've got to get past kicks in order to do so. Dan Ige's grappling ability is good, but he's not a monster. Like, he's not Khabibing guys at featherweight, so I don't see him doing it to Edson Barboza, who's way bigger than him. I think size is a real big factor here. And if Dan Ige can conquer the Goliath coming down from lightweight, because he is a huge man for that division, huge man for the featherweight division. If Dan Ige can get it done, Dan 50k Ige can get my respect forever. And I might even pick him going forward just out of common courtesy. I just don't think it's going to happen. I can see Dan Ige looking for a way to get on the inside, and I could see Edson Barboza timing him with a knee. I think that's going to happen. Dan Ige sits there with his guard up high. He does a lot of head movement on the inside to get in before he unloads like a four hook combination on people. That's how Dan Ige fights quite often. Especially that's how he's going to want to fight against Edson Barboza. All of this to get on the inside as the shorter guy against Edson. I don't like it because those knees are going to come out of nowhere. And at featherweight, I don't think there's an ounce of body fat on Edson Barboza's body. And I think he's going to be the most explosive guy we've ever seen. And the most explosive we've ever seen Edson Barboza. This is not a demotivated Edson Barboza. When guys go up in weight class, I see it a bit more like they're coming to the end of their career. They don't want to make the weight anymore. They want an easier time with the weight cut. They're trying things out at another weight class. But when a guy goes down in weight class, I don't think you can question his motivation. He's making things harder on himself for the better of his future career. I don't think it's a motivation issue. And the same thing with Jose Aldo as an example of a guy that's moved down in weight that wasn't the smallest featherweight in the world, but he went down to bantamweight. He started his cut 10 pounds less in overall weight. He did things well and he beat the #1 contender. I'm not comparing Edson Barboza's career at lightweight to Aldo's career at featherweight, but I think there's some narratives we can draw from the Aldo example. I think Edson's going to win. Aldo was huge against Moraes. Okay, Moraes is a big bantamweight as well with a lot of KO power, and he could not earn the respect of Jose Aldo. Aldo was just too big, too intimidating, and he walked him down. It was a close fight. It could have gone either way, but I thought it should have gone to Aldo, but I'm not surprised that it went to Moraes. It was a close fight. A lot of people call that a robbery. If you go back and watch the fight, it was very fucking close. Obviously, the commentary is shit, because that's how the commentary is, but either way, it was a close fight, but Aldo kind of got it done against the #1 contender. I think Edson can get it done against number 15. You know? I really do. And I know Aldo was not coming off KO losses. And Edson is. And that does change some things. I just think he's taken a lot of time off. He's taken the right amount of time off. He's approached the weight cut like a professional as well. And looking at those weigh-ins, one kick from Barboza might send Dan Ige out of the octagon into orbit. Like, I just can't deny that. That's very obvious to me, just looking at the pair of them. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And if Dan Ige does win, then good for him. I want him to fight Calvin Kattar, Sadiq Youssef, some of these ranked guys so he can still progress his career. Maybe Shane Burgos. But if Edson Barboza wins this fight, there is no other fight I want to see other than him versus Calvin Kattar. Because that, as I said before, makes me want to orgasm. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. I'll see you at the fights tomorrow for a fight companion, if you didn't know already. I'm going to be live the entire time. It's a great card, so tune in. Rest in peace, Mike Davis. I was looking forward to that fight, and now it's gone. See you later.